In sister location, there is strong evidence, I believe it's the number of eyeballs and the color of eyeballs, to suggest that Ballora is in the mix, right? And they even say, Ballora has been here today. You know, when they're talking about the scooping room at the end, right? To indicate all the souls / like endoskeleton, like spaghetti that has been merged together to form Ennard. One of them is presumably Ballora. Ballora is scared of this place. So, is there a world where Ballora is still down there? Hey guys, and welcome to GTLive, where I am back from a trip. And, you know, you come back from a trip and you're like, hey, FNAF has had a huge week where there was movie trailers and game trailers. Certainly there can't be anything else here. Certainly we're all done with this franchise until the next installment comes out or the next book I have to talk about or whatever. Oh no! I fly away to have a series of meetings about this animation show that we're talking about doing, as well as going to New York to see a bunch of you over at a Grey House premiere, which was amazing, by the way. Many Ash stans in the audience. You are much beloved.
Thanks so much, y'all. I wish I could have been there to say hello, but I super appreciate all your kind words.
I have a feeling you will meet a lot during VidCon. Based on how the interactions went, I have a feeling there will be a lot of love to be shared at VidCon, which makes me all the happier that you're coming. But, you know, you think you leave well enough alone and like everything's set up and it's like, okay, everything's going to go seamlessly while I'm gone. No, I fly away, and then all of a sudden I get an email from Ash being like, oh my gosh, FNAF, more news. Literally the subject line, full stop, everything.
I forgot a couple of the spaces.
It was all smushed together. I had to dissect the whole thing. And there it is, man. There it is. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2, a new VR game.
Electric Boogaloo.
Because it wasn't electric enough and because there wasn't enough lore that needed to be solved. Like, people can't even decide what happened in the first one. Is it Glitch Trap? Is it the Mimic program? People don't even know anymore. Like, people thought we had this one unlocked. We're like, oh, clearly it's Afton's consciousness uploaded or, you know, recreated in digital form, and now he passes on. But oh no, now the books have come out and it's all higgledy-piggledy. So anyway, I know that this exists, but I have been very busy because of this. And so, Ash, you said that we've gotten a lot of requests to react to the trailer?
Oh yeah. So many requests, in fact. I am aware we released a lot of content that wasn't this, which felt weird to a lot of you.
Okay, yeah.
And I understand why.
Was it squicky?
Was it what?
Squicky?
Squeaky?
Squicky.
Squicky.
That's that. Don't worry about it.
Well, I'm worrying about it now.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'll worry about it later.
It's a Tumblr thing you wouldn't understand.
Oh, God. What were you doing?
That is the only time in my life that I will ever say that.
Oh, God.
So anyway,
no.
Clearly, Mr. aware of the Tumblr.
Where did you go when you were gone?
It was a wild week. It was a wild week, let me tell you. I've been to some places, I've seen some things.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, we're doing it now. We didn't forget about it. We didn't miss it.
Yeah, I was just gone.
Matt was in a state. I was in a different state. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. I got to live out my Broadway dreams by hosting a talkback to like 900 of you who showed up, and it was just like it was pretty cool. It was really awesome because it was like a dream come true for me to be able to do a thing on Broadway, and I got to do my little 20-minute talkback at the end of the show, and we just discussed, and it was awesome because it was literally just like theorizing like it was basically this but on Broadway. Kind of. It was like, hey, we just watched a really mysterious show. Now let's all sit down and talk about it while the union workers are like counting down the minutes of overtime that they're going to get paid by the production staff because it's theater and like union rules are super tight around that sort of stuff. And so like huge shout out to everyone who worked at the theater who like extended time and said like, hey, we're comfortable with extra cost or whatever, so that way the audience can engage with this, because it was just an incredible night. So anyway, thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you for that. But yeah, that's where I've been. That's where I have these bracelets from. I have so many more. I got so many.
That's where you got them?
Oh yeah.
You've been decked out.
So many more too. Like I have, I think in total like 12.
Whoa, that's awesome.
The rest are up in my bag right now, so I'm gonna be bedazzled with them.
Yes.
I feel like I'm trading bracelets at Taylor Swift's Eras tour, right? Isn't that the thing to do at Taylor? See, look at me. I'm aware of so many things now.
You're still bejeweled.
I am. I'm living my best era right now.
I love that for you.
Right? I feel that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Five Nights, and now with it being my best era, let's hop into the Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted to. You know, the game that obviously everyone expected to have it. Also, I'm assuming this has got to be a Steel Wool game. What you doing, guy? Like, don't you have your own DLC that you got to be working on? Like, I'm a little bit, just off the bat, seeing that this is a thing, and I'm assuming it's Steel Wool as well. I'm assuming we'll see their logo in here somewhere. But off the bat, you tell me that there's a Help Wanted 2 coming out at the same time or in the same stretch of time as the Ruin DLC, which was also done by Steel Wool. I don't know, friends. That's a lot of content to be done in a very short amount of time. Just saying. So anyway, let's see. Five Nights at Freddy 2. Help Wanted 2.
Welcome back for another week of...
Is it a PlayStation exclusive?
This was...
PlayStation VR?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They announced it at a PlayStation event.
Time to dust that puppy off.
Yeah.
You know, the whole one game that we got that thing for, and we played it one time. You're going to have to get familiar with the VR set. I am so sorry. It is... You want to know one of the reasons why VR never got the killer app? Like, I think Help Wanted was actually one of the best VR games I played. It was very well done. So I'm excited that there's a sequel. But tell you why not more people cover it online is because it's miserable to try and make work in a live setting or in the film setting. It's just a lot more complicated than it necessarily needs to be. So...
Yay.
Have fun. Hey, I'll be gone for another week here coming up soon, so I'll give you a chance to play around.
Yeah. Wait, what? What?
I don't know. It's schedule. Who knows?
Oh.
Okay, let's do it again.
Great.
Look at this great ESRB rating.
Welcome back for another week of career fulfillment and minimal social interaction.
So we're going down into sister location. Here, I'll do that thing where I react subtly to the whole thing before I stop it.
We know how challenging it can be to find a place where you feel that you truly belong, and to find a job that treats you mostly with respect and only infrequently with contempt.
That's our business.
For that reason, we are excited to inform you that you did an adequate enough job the first time around to have you back.
This isn't canon. There's no way that this is actually like housed in the game
Also,
or in the lore.
There were no other applicants. So strap yourself in and get motivated to an appropriate degree. Because you ain't seen nothing yet.
Help Wanted to, man. Sure. Okay. Awesome. I'm excited about it. I love Help Wanted. Make jump scare. Okay. Ballora back. Okay. Play has no limits! I somehow doubt that. Okay, all right. Initial impressions. Excited. Surprised by sister location. And that sister location is getting the elevator down into like the bunker is getting such a heavy emphasis here, especially from a timeline standpoint, right? Because on one hand, I would be like, hey, sister location is like FNAF VR happened many years after, like that whole game was like, hey, this is a whole rebranding campaign. Freddy Fazbear's is kind of, it's run its course, and you know, this rogue indie developer created all these stories about us. And so to be revisiting the sister location elevator is weird from a timeline standpoint right off the bat. And so I have a thought though.
Welcome back for another week of career.
Stay cool with baby. Her coloring seems off here. Like her hair is more neon than usual.
Fulfillment and minimal social interaction.
Who is this? Let's party. What's up with? Does he have a headache? Is he an anime character undergoing some emotion? Because that's what every anime character undergoing an emotion looks like. Doesn't matter the emotion. Mind you, it doesn't matter what emotion it is. It's any applicable emotion.
Fulfillment and minimal social interaction.
We
know how
play.
challenging it can be.
Okay, so it's gonna be
minimal social interaction.
Okay, so what that tells me is it's gonna be wacka. The fact that he's got a smack mark behind him, we see another like bonnet behind him, and we see Bon there. I feel like that's gonna be like whack-a-mole.
Do you think they'd call it bonk bonk?
Bonk bonk?
Yeah, you have to bonk bonk bonbon.
Bonk bonk bonbon? No, it's gotta be bonk bon. Bonnie bonk. Bon bonk.
Bon bonk.
Bon bonk.
Bon bonk bon bonk.
Bon bonk. Bonk 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 bonk. So okay, that's my interpretation there. One of the games is gonna be literally whack-a-mole, but with Bonnies. Done. I feel very solid in that actually assessment. That's my prediction. Yes.
We know how challenging it can be to find.
What's over here? What do we got over here? That's weird. This thing. So this was always in the sister location. Like the layout of the sister location elevator is familiar. This though, isn't this in the Ruin trailer? This is because the only reason I call it out and the only reason it stands out to me is because we kept making the Among Us jokes. We're like, it's Among Us. Oh, look at us, it's Among Us, and we're connecting things or whatever. This looks even down to the number of wires, like it was 4 or 5 wires, wasn't it? It was very close, and it might even have the like little thing that she put in and twisted. Cassie.
Minimal social interaction. We know how challenging it can be to find a place where...
Yeah, it has the little like dial or knob there. This is weird. Huh.
Social interaction. We know how challenging it can be to find a place where you feel that you truly belong.
Feel like you find a place where you can truly belong.
And to find a job
that
treats you mostly with respect and only infrequently with contempt.
Fair.
For that reason, we are excited to inform you that you did an adequate enough job the first time around to have you back.
This lore.
Also, there were no other applicants. So strap yourself in and get motivated to an appropriate degree.
Okay, so here, this is the thing that I'm wondering, right? So on one hand, the idea of, we're revisiting sister location feels weird, but at the same time, it is honestly one of the places you can go back and revisit. If you think about what has happened in the timeline, we know that multiple pizzeria, like Fazbear Fright's burned down. We know the FNAF 2 location has been shut down and all of that. FNAF 1 location has been shut down. We know that the FNAF 6 location, we see it in Security Breach, it's underneath. The underground bunker, which, is neither here nor there, and it's kind of ridiculous that this exists under the Afton household. But the fact that the sister location still exists underground and under the Afton house to some degree, like Circus Babies Entertainment and Rentals, whatever you want to call this thing, because it's gone by many names over the years. It still exists. Like, as far as I know, across any of the canons, nothing ever happens to it. It's never destroyed. It's never set on fire. It's never even really shuttered down, right? We just know that at the end of sister location, baby escapes. But that location remains to this day, right? It still could have a lot of those animatronics still there. It still could have a lot of I guess it wouldn't have the animatronics there because all of them amalgamated into Ennard and then escaped. But whatever else is down in that bunker, whatever else experiments or things that are down there, still exists. So this being a location that you are visiting in the game and potentially where this game is taking place, that's actually valid. Unless this is similar to FNAF VR, where it was a simulated VR experience, which this doesn't feel like it is. This doesn't feel like a mini game. This feels like you're entering into your workspace. So on one hand, I see this and I'm like, oh, from a timeline perspective, this makes no sense. But it actually does, because nothing has ever happened to this location. Like, it's still 100% valid. That's really fascinating. The idea that the first game took place over the course of a week, right? I heard that correctly?
Fulfillment and minimal for another week. Come back for another week of
Welcome back to another week. See, that's interesting too, because FNAF VR never got a solid like timeline. You know, it was just like you're putting it on and you're experimenting with the games. And so
and minimal social interaction. For another week of career fulfillment and minimal social interaction. We know how challenging it can be to find a place where you feel that you truly belong.
So is this, and immediately when I heard this, my mind went to, oh, we're the same character as the one who played in FNAF VR, but we can't be, because in FNAF VR, we become subsumed by Glitch Trap, right? Like, the whole ending of that game, and it seems to be the canon ending, right, is that our brain swaps places or remerges with Glitch Trap. And so, and we are locked in that lock room, the prison at the end, where basically our conclusion at the end of the FNAF VR theory was like, there is no winning. You lose this game no matter what, because you have been digitally consciousness transferred or whatever. And so seeing this, I'm immediately like, oh, I'm back after doing the first VR game, so I must be the same character. But that can't be the case here. I can't be, you know, Tape Girl or whoever we played as in FNAF. It's up for debate who we played as in FNAF VR. I think that there are reasonable arguments to say that we played as Tape Girl or as Vanessa, either way. But regardless of who you play as, it can't be the same character here. So, and that's supported by the fact that he says, welcome back for another week. And FNAF VR never establishes that this was a week time period. That was actually kind of like a vague line of events. So that indicates to me that we are likely playing as some other personality from the past of the franchise, right? It can't be Mike, unless Mike has somehow, you know, coming back to sister location, but that doesn't make any sense. So it shouldn't be Mike Afton, who played in the original sister location. So if I were to guess who, it wouldn't be him though either. I was gonna say Fritz Smith, because Fritz is, would it be Fritz? No, because I've said that Mike is Fritz in a lot of, because he comes in and tries to like take down the pizzeria or whatever. If Mike is truly all the security guards in all the like early games, in FNAF 2, you have Jeremy and you have Fritz. So I was going to be like, oh, you know, he's one of them. And I believe in my theory, he is Fritz. But it can't be him either, because he's not there for a week either. He's only there for a day on the like last day of everything closing. He is there for like the final day when everything is gone crazy. He's there for like nightmare mode. So who does that leave you with? Leaves you with Mike Schmidt from FNAF 1, if it's not Mike Afton. It leaves you with Jeremy. Jeremy played for a whole week. In Fazbear Frights, we're fairly confident that we play as Mike Afton. In sister location, it's definitely Mike. In FNAF 4, you're, you know, random crying child or Mike Afton again. Like, it's that's another one that's vague, but it's also not a security guard position. It's not that. So really, the only possible candidates here are like somehow a Mike Afton returning, weird. Somehow a digitally consciousness swapped character that was possessed by FNAF VR, weird, and also doesn't match with the 1 week qualifier. So really, it means that you're kind of down to Jeremy Fitzgerald or Mike Schmidt, and it's just someone else, and the whole like Mike is every security guard is kind of wrong, which is fine. Like, I'm totally open to that. That's interesting. It could be just someone new. Could be, but the fact that they're calling out, hey, welcome back for another week. You did so well the last time you're back here. It could be not canon, but this is, I think Steel Wool understands it at this point. Obviously, Scott knows it at this point. You don't throw in lines like that under the expectation, it doesn't matter. It could be someone new.
and to find a job that treats you mostly with respect and only infrequently with contempt. For that reason, we are excited to inform you that you did an adequate enough job the first time around to have you back.
Did an adequate enough job the first time around, and it can't be VR. Adequate enough job the first time. There is, I guess, one last possibility here, which is in sister location. And it's one of the like weirdly unexplained things in sister location. You have other people working out of the bunker, right? You in night 4 when you're trapped in the springlock suit and you're having to like wind the cranks, and it's you're inside and you're watching Ballora get scooped. Basically, you have workers there, down there in the base. It's unclear who exactly they are, what they're doing, but you have people who are helping Afton run this facility down in the basement. It's weird, but it exists. On night 5, I believe, you see that 2 people have unalived themselves or have been killed in some way, but there's no indication that those are the same 2 people and that that's everyone who is there, right? So there is the possibility that this is some other worker who has familiarity with the sister location bunker and things like that. That would be it wouldn't be particularly satisfying, but it could be a rational explanation for this. Just throwing it out there.
Also, there were no other applicants. So strap yourself in and get motivated to an appropriate degree.
The appropriate degree. Welcome to Life at Theorist.
Because you ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing. I just wondering if the way it's said, it makes it feel like it's a like double meaning thing, but it's not. You ain't seen nothing yet. Any double entendre? No. Because with the teaser, you almost worry about it more than a trailer, because it's just the teaser, right? With a teaser, like everything matters, and you're like, oh, I gotta really, every word makes a difference. Because even Help Wanted, like, it's such a brilliant title of a game, and after you finish it, you realize it's like, oh, it's Help Wanted, like a Help Wanted sign, but also you're in need of it. Like, there's a lot of layers of help wanted in that one that it works on, like, 3 or 4 different layers as a title. It's great. It's brilliant. Help Wanted 2, also someone wants help. Slight off-coloring. I don't think that really tells us a whole lot. I will say again, and maybe this is just an aesthetics thing, because the first Help Wanted also had a neon sign up there for like Help Wanted. But seeing it here reminds me again of Ruin, where Ruin, I called out the fact that the font that they use is very much a like neon sign font, but also feels maze-like. So I'm seeing a lot of connections between this and the new Security Breach DLC. The fact that this is also neon sign oriented, the fact that you see the Among Us panel on the side there, which is now canon. The fact that there is the Among Us panel in both games, that is now canon, which tells you that, is there a world where, because I'm assuming this is coming out, they don't give a firm date.
Yeah, I'd say probably like
after Ruin.
After Ruin, if you want to be all businessy,
yeah.
Q4.
Q4, yeah, this is clearly a Q4 release.
For sure.
To optimize on the CPMs and the holiday pre-orders.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That is going to be under Christmas trees this winter.
Yep.
Late 2023 though, so we know that it's going to be after Ruin. So it feels like Ruin is setting us up for this, and so there's a world where, well, it doesn't look like our character in Ruin is coming in to do work.
Cassie's in the elevator.
I don't think it's Cassie.
I don't know. I mean, she has the Among Us thing on her resume now.
She does.
No,
she's right. She's got the thing, and she is. You were so good in your first week that we decided, no, it can't be her. Okay, there is the possibility. Again, if whatever happens in Ruin is setting up what's happening here, there is a possibility that it can be. But that would be strange because the pizzeria is so decidedly closed. Then again, this whole franchise has been about, like, all the pizza. I say that, But then I think, and I'm like, no, literally all the pizzerias have been closed. Like Mike Schmidt was a security guard at a closed pizzeria, like monitoring it, right? We see it in the new movie, right? The new movie trailer where the theory that, it is Mike in that movie is a security guard for a ruined pizzeria. Like we see it, the closed sign. We see how it's all grown over with vines. So on one hand, I'm like, oh, it can't be Cassie because the pizzeria is closed. She's entering it through a window, though, so that feels decidedly different.
There's that, but also, it'd be very problematic if Cassie was the person here, because then we'd have to talk about child labor.
It's FNAF. They don't care. They're like, more power to us. That cuts down on the bottom line. Steelbook Studios, and the fact that that's the other thing. The fact that they're doing both, one is like, that's a lot of work, but it tells me that the two stories are being told. You would assume that the two stories are being told together, Yeah. Right?
What you said about the neon signs, I think, really pulls that together.
It feels like they're intended to be much more, and that they're releasing the same year, and like, so presumably they're being developed in overlapping time periods and stuff. It feels like these are telling two parts of the same story.
Help wanted to ruin, to as in T-O, to ruin the Pizzaplex because, what's going on there? It's after.
Yeah, great. Keep going with it. Yeah. 2 T-double-O, which is one away from 3, which was the first FNAF first FNAF games, where it was supposed to end after 3.
Yup.
Which...
And 3 is half of 6.
That's true.
And FNAF 6 was...
the finale again. And Ultimate Custom Night is shortened to UCN, which is 3 letters.
Yup.
Oh!
And then 3 times 3
is 9.
9.
Which is how many books there was 3 years ago. I don't know. No, but anyway. Why Ballora? See, this is weird. Why Ballora? One, her eyes are different. Right? Because Ballora's eyes are purple. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ballora, jump scare. Let's just see an image of it. Yeah, her eyes are purple. Got the Urple eyes. Or gray. Well, yeah, definitely Urple. And so the fact that they're glowing blue, that's weird. The fact that it's Ballora in general is weird, because again, in sister location, there is strong evidence, I believe it's the number of eyeballs and the color of eyeballs, to suggest that Ballora is in the mix, right? And they even say, Ballora has been here today. Funtime Freddy has been here today. Funtime Bonnie Funtime Freddy has been here today. When they're talking about the scooping room at the end, right, to indicate all the souls / like endoskeleton like spaghetti that has been merged together to form Ennard. One of them is presumably Ballora. Ballora is scared of this place. So is there a world where Ballora is still down there? Is there? Because here's the thing, like the robot spaghetti. In the world of FNAF, 10 eyeballs might not actually relate to like 5 animatronics. Like it probably should, but also there's always it wasn't. It was just a spare part or something. So it makes me wonder, is there a reason why Ballora would still be down here, or is this just like a VR recreation? Or is this a mimic? Again, the mimics you'll hear a lot about in our... This is going up on Friday, right?
Yes.
I filmed this Thursday. It's going up tomorrow. Great.
Yes.
This weekend, we have a FNAF theory coming out. It's talking about the mimic, which is the big thing that is kind of like upheaving the whole Five Nights at Freddy's like fandom and theories, and everyone's getting to reassess all their theories. And so it's basically this idea of the AI that's trained and seems to have been a fundamental part of the Pizzaplex and its running and operation. And so it's this, is there a world where this is a mimic program of Ballora? Or is there a world where we have physically gone down into sister location and is Ballora just still there? Because it is weird that Ballora is so different from all the other animatronics that were down. It says Ballora has always been a different animatronic, period, right? The fact that it's an adult, the fact that it's a mature individual, feels motherly in a lot of ways. Again, it's one of the reasons why we keep coming back to this idea of like, is Ballora a stand-in or a surrogate for a mother figure in this franchise where there are no mother figures, right? Where it's basically the Disney dilemma of like dead moms everywhere, right? And in the books, there are so many families where one of the parents is missing, but more often than not, it's like a single dad household, right? So again and again and again, you see these single dad households in all the different Fazbear Fright stories, the Tales of the Pizzaplex stories. And so we're always like, oh, well, Ballora must be some indicator of a female figure, Mrs. Afton, whatever. Her dialogue in her song is like, hey, why are you closing off your walls? You know, you've shut me out. All I see is an empty tomb. You know, I see this emptiness inside of you from the death of a child. Again, feels very motherly, matronly in a way. So the fact that she would get roped into Baby's scheme to escape as part of Ennard has always been a little bit weird to me, or the fact that she is brought to life through the spirits of a kid, you know, because, again, in Fourth Closet, you see that they've melted all the, like, soul metal together, and it's all based on the missing children, incident kids. They melt their remnant together, they pull out a syringe, and they start injecting it into, like, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy. And there's, like, it's illustrated in the graphic novels. That is what it is. It's soul goo from kids into the living metal that is the sister location animatronics. Ballora's the odd woman out there, right? She does not behave childlike tendencies. She does not behave like, she doesn't show childlike tendencies. She does not behave like a child. She behaves like an adult. So for her to be amalgamated into the rest of them, that's weird. It would be weird. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her still down here in the bunker, just like the bunker exists. Like, she could be a loose thread. I like that possibility more than anything else, honestly. And that's just speculation. Game speculation. Thanks for joining me on the couch. But like, really, I like that idea. Her eyes have that. Her eyes are held together in a. Oh no, I guess they do have those lines around the edge there to kind of like hold it in place. These overlap more with the eye, but it's close enough that I'd be like, oh, that's just like an artistic difference. Because it's really close. The blue glowing, and the mask and everything matches. It's really close. But yeah, so part of me kind of hopes that this is real Ballora, who's still down there and has kind of like reassumed her body, and is now going to guide us through the secret story that is Mrs. Afton that we called as our timeline, and we're vindicated yet again. That would be amazing. I don't know if that's the case. It is the longest of long shots, and definitely one of the most aggressively out there theories that we've ever done. But I still feel like there's room in this franchise for some female girl boss or something to exist. And Ballora feels like a good fit for it. The fact that she's coming back, that feels like a good fit. The fact that we're returning to sister location feels like a good fit. So I would be excited to see more of Ballora's story, or more of like the missing female Afton in the world. Cool. What are people excited about this? This is truly the year of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. 5 Nights at Freddy's 2 games in a movie. It is 2023. I saw this on Reddit. Where it is 2023, and so 2023 is the year of FNAF 3. So the fact that this is the year of FNAF makes a whole lot of sense. Can't wait for Matpat to make a 20-minute video digesting this trailer. How long was this video, Ash?
Our recording time right now is just shy of 35 minutes.
20 minutes. I'm sorry I disappointed you. I couldn't deliver you 20 minutes. I could give you 35,
Yeah.
which, to be fair, for a minute trailer,
That's pretty good.
that's pretty good. Like, that's efficient right
It
there.
is.
This was a tight 35.
It was.
Honestly, I love that this is longer than the length of a traditional TV show. Us talking about literally one scene where they say like 5 things.
Yeah, it's true.
At least when there's like super cuts and they're like, oh, here's a scene, here's a scene, here's a scene. You're like, oh, I get why you would go frame by frame of this. This is, I'm surprised that I got 35 minutes out of this. But the more I think about it, the more there actually is to talk about. This is. I'm surprised. My initial reaction was like, oh, I don't have a lot to talk about. But the more I pick at it, I'm like, oh, but there is a lot of loose threads coming off of Sister Location, and maybe this is the game that really starts to pull it up. That's fascinating. Wow, it's gonna be good. Again, to just put it out there, FNAF VR Help Wanted 1 was up there in my top 3 FNAF games. I think it used VR well. I thought the minigame format worked really well. It was varied in its gameplay in a way that a lot of the other FNAF games aren't. I thought the jump scares work incredibly well in VR. And it was hard. It was hard, but there was a lot of lore in it. It was just across the board, it was a win. I'm excited about this. Controversial take.
Wait, hold up.
Oh man, you're pulling me up?
I'm bringing you full screen for this controversial take.
Here's my controversial take. Ready? Hot take. The hottest of the spiciest takes. I am more excited about this than I am for Ruin.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Explain.
Well, like I said, FNAF VR 1 through 3. I thought FNAF VR was really solid. The top 3 FNAF games for me. I think it showed Steel Wool off really well, where it was short, contained bursts of gameplay as opposed to this giant world where things can get lost easily, and it's very, when you're creating a 3-dimensional, like, open world experience, there's a lot that has to get done and a lot that has to be done right. And, Security Breach struggled in a lot of ways to fulfill on a lot of that stuff, right? And so I am hopeful for Ruin, and I enjoyed my time with Security Breach, and I think that there was a lot to chew on, but I think we all walked away from it being like, this was messy in its storytelling, this was messy in the programming, like, it had its moments, but it also had its frustrating moments, and so it was a very mixed bag of a game, whereas FNAF VR, I enjoyed every minute of that, and I would actively go back and replay that for fun, because I thought it was fun. I thought the puzzle elements was fun, I thought the escape room elements were fun, across the board, it was good. So when it comes to, which is weird, and this is a weird thing to say, right? But when it comes to like FNAF projects that I'm excited about, this might be my number 1, followed by Movie, followed by Ruin. Which I know is throwing me out, followed by the books. Books are down the street, round the corner, whatever. Which I think is a controversial take, but I think that's my honest assessment of it. Like, Help Wanted, solid. Movie, I'm very excited about, but also it's telling stories. Well, it's telling a very different story. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic about the movie. I'm curious about the movie more so than anything else. But also, I'm nervous anytime there's a video game equivalent, and with this franchise, I don't know. Like, that one, I'm more nervous than anything else. And then Ruin, it's like, show me what you got. Like, I think with Ruin, I'm like, prove to me that you've solved it, that you figured yourself out, Security Breach. That one is more like, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm like, hey, come in, show me what you got. Show me what you got. So that's it. This is my number 1 FNAF project of the year, coming in at the end of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, spicy topic.
Do you think that some people would find this take to be squicky?
No, I don't think it would be squicky in this case.
Because according to the internet, it
I
says
love that you looked up squicky. Yes, what is squicky?
Disgusting or disturbing, semicolon,
Right.
very unpleasant.
Right, I know, which I would not say it's unpleasant. I think it's spicy, maybe controversial,
Yeah.
but not disgusting.
Yeah, not disgusting.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
disgusting and like unpleasant are very,
Yeah.
and it's all
not
grouped under
squicky.
one word.
Right. What did I use squicky to describe earlier?
I don't know.
We'll have to
You followed it
revisit.
up with something about Tumblr.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad we've had this time, and I'm glad you've learned something. I'm glad we've all learned something. So until, who knows? I'm going to sign off on this one, and there's going to be another FNAF announcement, because at this point, it feels like every other day. Like, I close my eyes for a couple hours, and next thing I know, more. So we'll see. There's going to be some big toy announcement that blows my mind. Oh! Last thing as we wrap this up. I was, as part of this New York trip where I was with the Broadway show, we went to FAO Schwartz for Ollie. And FAO Schwartz, big toy store in New York, very famous. And they don't do a whole lot of branded stuff. They do mostly their own toy lines. But they did partner with Funko, so there was a big Funko section. And let me tell you, in this toy store full of like fun and games and lighthearted, stuffed, it's mostly like stuffed animals and giant pianos and stuff. So many Five Nights at Freddy's things. So many. front and center, front of the pack, including a whole new set of animatronics that I've only seen circulated on the Reddit, on subreddit, the Five Nights at Freddy subreddit, the balloon circus animatronics.
I'm gonna be so real. I really thought you were gonna say the dark web at first.
The dark web, yes.
Yeah.
Those FNAF animatronics circulating the dark web. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, balloon circus animatronics, which I think the current working theory is that they were what were meant to be inside of the Balloon Boy arcade game in Security Breach. Because they are, you don't normally see, outside of the AR game, you don't normally see versions of these characters that don't exist in some other game IP or some other property. And so the fact that there's a full-on merch line of these like little cutesy circus versions of the animatronics, it's suspicious. And it mostly matches the Security Breach, Balloon Boy circus atmosphere. So
suspicious, sus, Among Us in help wanted two.
2 letters.
2 letters. Balloon.
Boy, BB.
BB.
Which is also JJ. Which is also bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of GTLive. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. And remember, it wasn't a live stream, but it was a video for you. Bye-bye.